Meet Sarah. For the last 47 days, she's eaten grapefruit before every meal. She's added a spoonful of coconut oil to her coffee every morning. She's been drinking green tea like it's her job, because somewhere online, someone told her these are fat-burning foods. The scale hasn't moved, not 1 pound. Sarah isn't lazy. She isn't doing anything wrong. She's just been chasing a myth, one that's been sold to us for decades. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why fat-burning foods don't work the way you think, and what actually does. Let's start with the biggest myth of all, that a food can burn fat just by being eaten. Here's the truth. No food burns fat. Not celery, not grapefruit, not cayenne pepper, not apple cider vinegar. Fat is burned through a process, not a plate of food. That process is called a calorie deficit. When your body uses more energy than you take in, so it taps into stored fat for fuel. So when marketers say fat-burning food, what they really mean, if they're being honest, is a food that might support fat loss indirectly. Big difference. Let's break down how that actually works. There are 3 real science-backed ways certain foods can help. Not magically melt fat, but genuinely help. Digesting food actually burns calories. This is called the thermic effect of food, or TEF. Protein has the highest thermic effect of any macronutrient. Your body burns roughly 20 to 30% of the calories in protein just digesting it, compared to 5 to 10% for carbs and 0 to 3% for fat. That's why high-protein foods like eggs, chicken, Greek yogurt, and lentils are genuinely useful. Not because they burn fat on contact, but because they cost more energy to process. Foods high in fiber and water, like vegetables, legumes, and whole grains, take up space in your stomach, slow digestion, and keep you full longer. A 2019 study in the journal Nutrients found that people who increased fiber intake without changing anything else still lost weight, simply because they naturally ate less. Fullness beats fat burning every time. Green tea and coffee do have a small measurable effect. Caffeine and a compound in green tea called EGCG can boost metabolism by about 3 to 11% for a short window. Sounds exciting, until you realize that's roughly 20 to 50 extra calories a day. That's less than 1 bite of toast. Helpful? Sure. A fat-burning miracle? Not even close. Let's clear up the biggest offenders, one by one. Coconut oil marketed as a metabolism booster because it contains MCTs, but it's still 100% fat at 9 calories per gram. Any small metabolic bump is completely wiped out by the calories it adds. Grapefruit, the grapefruit diet, has been around since the 1930s. The truth? Grapefruit is just a low-calorie, high-water fruit. It fills you up, which is genuinely useful, but it has no special fat-melting enzyme, despite what old diet books claimed. Apple cider vinegar studies show it may modestly reduce appetite and blood sugar spikes, but the effect is small, and taking shots of vinegar isn't going to undo a calorie surplus. Spicy foods and cayenne pepper capsaicin gives a tiny temporary metabolic bump similar to caffeine. Nice bonus. Not a strategy. Notice the pattern? Every one of these foods can support a healthy diet. None of them replace the actual mechanism of fat loss, the calorie deficit we talked about earlier. So if individual foods aren't the answer, what is? Here's what the research actually supports. Prioritize protein at every meal. It keeps you full and costs more energy to digest. Aim for a palm-sized portion at each meal. Build meals around fiber-rich, high-volume foods. Vegetables, legumes, and whole grains fill your plate without filling your calorie budget. Create a moderate calorie deficit, not a drastic one. Research consistently shows that crash diets backfire through muscle loss and rebound weight gain. A deficit of 300 to 500 calories a day is sustainable and effective. Strength train. Muscle tissue burns more calories at rest than fat tissue. This is the closest thing to an actual metabolism booster that science supports. Sleep and stress matter more than people think. Poor sleep raises ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and lowers leptin, the fullness hormone. A tired body craves more food, full stop. Sarah didn't need a magic food. She needed a plan built on real mechanisms: protein, fiber, a sensible deficit, and consistency over time. There's no such thing as a food that burns fat on its own, but there are foods and habits that make fat loss easier, more sustainable, and, honestly, more enjoyable. That's the real truth the diet industry doesn't want to sell you, because eat balanced meals and be consistent doesn't fit on a supplement label. If this saved you from wasting time and money on another fake fat-burning fad, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments which diet myth you want busted next.